Hey everybody, what's up? It's Victory here again. Today, taking a look at another small engine repair. It's also another trash find. This is a Homelite generator. It's a, I think that says Generon, oh no, Generator 4800. It's a 4300 watt generator, 122 40 volts. There's the information. Like I said, I found this out for trash, and the guy was actually cleaning up his yard, and he said, yeah, you could take it. It doesn't work. And I can already tell you what's wrong with it, besides being really dirty. Still gas in the tank. So I'm sure that that carburetor down there is all plugged up. This looks like a Honda. Might be a knockoff Honda. Can't tell. But other than being dirty and the carburetor probably being plugged up, it doesn't look too bad at all. Here we got start and run. Special plugs here, regular plugs. Fuse 120, 240 volt selection. It does crank over. It's got a decent amount of compression to it too. Guess it's going to be from the 90s. Not sure though. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do is see if this thing makes power. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is take all this air cleaner stuff off and pull the plug, make sure the plug has spark. Then if it does, I'm going to dump a little gas down the cylinder, and I'm going to see if when I yank on it, it fires up, if it makes power or not. Just going to dive into this air cleaner. This thing looks like it's been sitting a while. There's a bunch of other garbage out, so I'm assuming the guy was cleaning out his garage. Yeah, that foam was pretty old. It's not even holding it. It's turning to dust. This might be metric. This was metric. It's size 10. But now I got the right wrench here. I apologize for my voice. I can't talk very loud. My allergies have been kind of bad recently. That'll get better. Oh! Another bolt on this on. That should do it. Alright, there's your carburetor. It's a pretty standard looking Honda carburetor. Just pull that out. And buried all the way down in there is the spark plug. So I'm gonna have to take the muffler off. Okay, so it looks like in order to get this spark plug down here, I'm going to need to take the muffler off. And it looks like in order to do that, I take these two screws out. This is kind of hard to do with a camera in the way. I have to use my non-dominant hand. There we go. That should get this little piece of shielding out of the way. And then should be able to just get at these bolts down here. Maybe. Or not. Okay, so that's definitely not coming out. So it might be time for plan B. So I got a socket on there that should hopefully work. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Jeez. Pretty stuck in there. Need an extension. Alright, got an extension. This still seems way too hard. Jeez. Yep, there's our spark plug. Doesn't look too bad. It's got a low carbon buildup on it. So let's see if we have spark. I'm gonna guess that we do. These Honda engines are usually pretty good. What do you think? We're gonna have spark? I do. Yeah, it looks like we got something of a spark. It's not the strongest spark in the world, but it's definitely a spark. Cool. I'm going to dump some gas down the plug hole. We'll see if it fires up. Alright, let's see if this thing makes power. Just dump some gas down the plug hole. Probably way too much. Got this on 120 only and start mode. Get a lamp plugged into it. I'm going to try not to step on any of the parts here. And give this thing the yank. Switch is sketchy. Ow. Wow, this thing's hard to pull over. I'm gonna try one more time to get this thing to work, but it almost feels like the timing's wrong, like due to a snapped flywheel kit, so I might look into that also. So before I pop the front cover off and flywheel off and stuff, I'm going to, oh boy, I'm gonna pop this valve cover off and make sure that the there's not like a ton of slop in the valves and stuff like that. I have a feeling that the flywheel key is off though, because it's very hard to pull and it seems to backfire whenever you do get it over. Something gives me an idea that exhaust valve isn't working too well right now, and that might be part of the problem I was having of backfiring and why this thing is super hard to pull over, because that's not doing anything. Okay, so let's fix that. I'm gonna admit right now I've never done any valve work before, so I could be doing everything wrong right now. I would say yell at me in the comments, but I'm not gonna get enough views on this video. Let's see, how tight is this one? Okay. Still got a little ways to go here. Might have to adjust the gapping, but oh, we're shooting stuff out the exhaust, but that's already better. Oh, much better. Sweet. Okay, much better. Let's try again. So already this thing's a lot easier to pull over. So I'm going to dump some gas down and we'll see if it runs. Here goes nothing. Ooh. That was exciting. Okay, so seeing as though my redneck just try something and see if it works idea didn't work with these valves, I figured I might as well dive into the whole engine anyways. So just to see what condition it's in and stuff. I'm awaiting a set of feeler gauges to adjust those valves properly. But for right now, I'm going to pull the muffler off and pull the head off just to make sure everything's good inside. And I got to get that carburetor and stuff out of the way. So I think I'm going to do a quick time lapse here of me just pulling everything off. And once I clean it up inside, put the head back on it, and then I can adjust those valves and we'll see if she runs. Okay, so I've got the head loose here, and hopefully a little encouragement, it should come off, maybe. Like I said, I've never played with these things before, so I could be wrong. Actually, there might be another bolt under here. Let me take this off. Alright, I think I got it loose now. There was a piece holding it to the shroud here. This carburetor doesn't actually come off without taking the whole engine out, or the head off, I think. Which is kind of a dumb design, but there we go. The head is off. There are our valves, and I think I see another problem with them. That is, the exhaust valve is very carboned up, and it doesn't look like it's sealing very well. So I think I'm going to just clean everything up here, and I'll get back to you when I'm done. So if you excuse the camera angle here, I'm going to attempt to remove these valves. Let's see. And that way I can clean up and around and under them and stuff. See if I can get them to seat a little better. So I'm going to try and do this without a tool. And that wasn't too bad. Oh, that wasn't bad at all. Wow, that was easy. Okay, so these valves should both hopefully, or maybe not, pop out. The seats still look pretty decent to me, but I'm going to clean up all that carbon and crap that was around the, the exhaust valve. Say that's a little carboned up. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. So I just got done wire wheeling here, and that's looking significantly better. The intake valve gets a little stuck. It's not too terrible though. I'm just going to oil it up. The exhaust valve moves nice and freely, but it's in a much rougher shape. As you can probably tell, that's pretty pitted, and that stuff wasn't coming off even with some pretty aggressive wire wheeling. But the seats look nice now, and it appears that it's seating better. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is, because of the way this generator is designed, and not being able to get that carb off, I'm going to take a look into this carburetor and see about cleaning it up. Alright, as you can see, there's quite a mess of pieces around me. I'm going to try and do my best to keep everything that I'm doing in frame here, and you're going to have to apologize for this noisy cart I'm sitting on. So I'm going to just first of all break this bowl free. I have a feeling that this is going to be full of nasty crap from old fuel, but I'm going to pop that piece off. That is just a bolt, not a jet. Oh, alright. Oh, so it's really not that bad. Looks like somebody's been in here before me. Because there's some scraping marks at the bottom of that bowl. Apologize for the bad lighting. I'm in my garage. It's kind of the best I can do. Alright. Needle and seat. Nice. This thing really doesn't seem too bad. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think... I'm gonna go grab a screwdriver and pull out these main jets and stuff, and then I think I'm going to just blow everything out with compressed air. Alright, so I got a couple different size screwdrivers here. I'm gonna see which, if any, actually fit, and it looks like I got lucky. I think this first one fit. I'm gonna try and pull out this main jet. Oh, okay. I think that might actually be it. Like I said, this isn't crusty enough to warrant a full soaking, overnight soaking, I don't think. I think if I blow it out with compressed air, it'll run well enough, assuming it runs at all. I am going to clean this out more thoroughly, though. I don't want any of that rusty crap getting sucked into the engine. Would not be good. Basically just going to blow out any possible passageway I can find. And I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so I just got the carburetor all blown out and put back together. So I think I'm going to go ahead and reassemble this thing and put the head back on. Again, sorry about the weird camera angle. I'm going to try and put these valves back in again without a proper tool or anything. It's just just what I have to work with here. Put something underneath it. These really aren't that bad to put back in, I'm not going to lie. I would have thought it would run a lot worse. That's backwards. I think they're both backwards. Alright. There we go. That's that one. Cool. Alright, time to get the head back on. Alright, so I'm gonna put the push rods back in. I think that one actually went on the intake side of things. Just gonna let them sit loosely in there. I'm gonna try and sneak this head back on, although I might need to put these... I think I need to put these on the head side first. Easier said than done. Alright. I can tell you already, these push rods are going to be a pain in the butt to get back in place. Just a general pain in the butt, I think. Oh boy. Let's see. There we go. Okay, it's all back in. Guess I can go ahead and put the head bolts back on now. We'll deal with the push rods in a minute. At least there's only 4 head bolts. It's kind of nice. Go ahead and tighten them by hand first, and then I'll crank them down. These things were pretty tight. I should have taken them off with a torque wrench to measure the torque, but I forgot. So I'll just crank them down about as tight as I felt. I mean, on a small engine like this, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. interesting. One of the exhaust valve stem is shorter than the intake. I think that's a little weird. Oh, there goes my motion activated garage light. There we go. Wave at it. Alright, now it's breaker bar time. Should be tight enough. That should be more than tight enough. I'm going to try and align these push rods. Although I think the intake one's good, the exhaust one's completely out of place here. Try not to lose it back into the head. Oh, come on out. This isn't working too well. There we go. That back into place. There we go, now they're moving again. Cool. I'm going to try and snap this valve rocker back into place also. Sorry if I'm completely blocking everything that's going on here. Oh no, that's just completely backwards. Oh, there we go. Get this thing on the... Okay. I'm just going to have to loosen these nuts up a bit. And I got myself a feeler gauge set, so I should be able to look up the actual specification and do it right this time, not my kind of redneck just see if it works idea. Oh, come on. Almost had it. There we go. That one's back in place. Wow. There we go. I'd say that's a lot of valve slop. Alright, I'm going to look up what the specification is and I'll get back to you. So according to the data sheet here, for a Honda GX240, which is what this engine is, I'm going to look up the specs in a little bit, Intake clearance should be 0.15 plus or minus 0.02, and exhaust should be 0.20 plus or minus 0.02. Oh, that would be millimeters. Inches is 6 thousandths plus or minus 1,000, and 8 thousandths plus or minus 1,000. So the intake is 6 and the exhaust is 8. I'm going to find my feeler gauges here. See which one's 6 and which one's 8. Found 6. I don't know if you're going to be able to read that. Intake should be... Okay, so that's got a that's got a long ways to go. Let's see. That's too tight. Actually, let me make sure I'm not on an intake stroke here. Okay. Should be good. I'm going to loosen this up a little bit. Still tight. There we go. Wow, that's a little more than I would have thought. Huh. Guess that's the specification, so... Interesting. Okay, get out the feeler gauges again here. Here's 8 thousandths. One's a little harder to measure. That's too tight. Is that it? I'm gonna say that's it. That one's a little firmer than the intake, but still kind of loose. Oh well. Alright, so that's pretty much that. I'm going to go ahead and put this governor piece back in here. And then I'm going to put everything back on the carb, dump a little gas down the plug hole again. Or actually maybe down the exhaust. Might work better. There goes my garage light again. And then hopefully this thing will fire up. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back. Aid of my breaker bar. Alright, that's nice and tight. Going to get a little gas and dump it down the plug hole. Alright, so I just dumped a little gas down the spark plug hole here. I'm going to put the spark plug back in. This thing does fire up. Without that muffler, it's going to sound like a freaking motorcycle. But it'll be exciting. So I'm going to leave the valve cover off for now, just so I can make sure everything stays good in there. This spark plug is pretty stiff. I think the threads might be a little dirty or something, because I never had a spark plug that was this hard to put in. That should be good. Alright. And put the plug wire back in here. And scooch this back. If this thing fires up, I will go ahead and put the rest of the card back together. Oh, and the pull cord might help. Go ahead and put that back on. Spin this thing around here. Thinking that putting it up more like that might work better than off to the right like it was at. I'm going to go ahead and do that. There's a last couple screws that are still around here. I think this got dented in at one point. There is another cover I took off the bottom of the valves and the head and stuff that needs to go back on also. But again, I want to see this thing run first. I'll get all the pieces back after I see it run, that is. Oh boy. I'm going to loosen this up because the bottom hole isn't lining up. There we go. The only reason I took this off in the first place was because apparently on some Honda engines there's a marking that shows where top dead center is for when you're doing valves and stuff. This one didn't have it, of course, but since I had the head off I was able to figure it out. So, alright. Time for hopefully the first startup. Alright, let's see if this thing starts. Got the light plugged in. I don't know if it's going to generate current immediately because there's that start and run switch, but we can at least see if the engine runs. Hey, that's something. Alright, we got some life out of it. I'm going to go ahead and put all that carburetor stuff back together. Okay, take two. I got the air cleaner and stuff back on. I dumped a little gas down that tube in hopes that it would get to the carburetor. So let's see if this thing will fire up again. Hey, it lives! Alright, so I didn't see any power output yet. I have a feeling I need to get this thing up to a decent RPM though. So what I'm going to do is hook up a gas line and see if my carburetor clean out actually worked. Alright, so I just dumped some gas into that line. We're going to see if this thing fires up. We're shooting flames at the exhaust yet not getting anything. You know, Honda engines are very picky about the pressure and airflow through the engine. For example, I have a Honda engine that won't run because the air cleaner isn't on it, so I'm going to try and slap the muffler back on and see if that fixes anything. So in every other engine I've worked on that's not broken in any way, when the carburetor's gummed up and I dump gas into it, it revs way up and dies, like you would expect. This one, when I dump gas into it, it kind of just sputters and backfires and that's it. So I'm wondering if something else is wrong with this thing. The valves are just adjusted right. I mean, even if the carburetor was completely gummed up, it should still do better than that. So I'm going to check and see if the flywheel key is broken. I'm not entirely sure if that's it, and if that's not it, I think it might be starving for air or the exhaust might be plugged up or something. But I've loosened up this cover. Can sneak it out from under here. Hopefully. Oops. Kind of hard to do this one-handed. There we go. Alright. Because it's almost acting like the timing's off. So that's our flywheel and our coil there. Coil looks decent. It's a little rusty, that's to be expected. Alright, I'm going to pull that bolt off. I'll be back in a second. I'm kind of at a loss with this one. That flywheel key doesn't look snapped to me. Took quite a bit to get this flywheel off though, so I don't know. I'm going to put it back on, line it up, and we'll see if it does anything differently. Hey, look what you know, it runs! I just dialed in the carburetor a little bit. I got some carburetor to work to do. She's a runner and a power maker. Yay! Alright, let's dial in this carburetor. Got a test tank up top. Let that fill up. Fuel. Alright. Give it a Almost. Gotta put the rest of the carburetor shielding stuff on. Might be running a bit rich. Nope, that's not the right one. Dang it. Probably put the gas cap back on before I spill a bunch. Get the other nut. Just need the wing nut that holds the top piece on. So far it's looking good though. I knew this thing would come back to life. These Honda engines are pretty good engines. Alright, let's give it one more shot here. Oh boy. It is possible I still might need to dive back into this carburetor and clean it out if I can't get it to run right without the choke on. Okay, so I can't get this thing to fire back up for my life. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to pull that carburetor back off and I'm going to let it soak in some carburetor cleaner and then I'm going to blow it out again. So I'm going to try and get this thing off. There we go. Well, that's going to be interesting. I might have to pull the bowl off first. Oh boy. There was not much gas left in there. Still not going to come off. Well, that might be part of the problem. There wasn't any gas in this thing. Yay! Saw gas in the tube up here and I thought there was gas in it, but no, there's no gas. Oh my god. Let's put this thing back together. I wonder it wouldn't start. Alright. Try this again. That's better! That's a lot more like it. Well, no choke or anything. Running perfectly. I'm going to quickly grab a multimeter and make sure that everything's right. Then I'll put a load on it. Alright, let's fire this thing up and I'll put a multimeter on it and we'll see if we get 120. So I'm just going to button this thing back up really quickly, put all the screws back in and everything. Then I'm going to see if that gas in the tank is any good. Oh crap, hold on. Doing things in the wrong order. Somehow ended up being short 2 screws. I'm gonna go find them. Alright, so I'm gonna have to find some screws that fit the 2 that are missing on the bottom of that front cover, and then I also have to find a nut that will fit the air cleaner because I'm messy and I can't keep track of the nuts and stuff I take off, so I'll be back when I get them. Let's just give it one more test for the sake of it. Turn that on. I love this thing. That's amazing. Alright, so I just got back from the local hardware store and I got myself a new fuel filter and 3 screws to replace the 3 that are missing on this engine shroud. So I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to put these 3 back in. I'm going to put this filter in line and I'm going to see if I can burn off what gas is in here. I'm going to see if it runs okay or not. Because it does smell old, but, and yeah, that's kind of yellow. This is it's supposed to be a fuel gauge, so I might have to get a new one of those also. But like, I don't really know what else to do with this gas other than burn it off, because I don't know what to do with it. So I'm going to go ahead and put these 3 screws in and I'll be back. Alright, so I got the fuel filter installed there and the last 3 bolts, which are down and under there. So I'm going to wheel this thing outside a little bit and we're going to see if it leaks. Alright, leak test time. The valve's on the other side here. I'm going to turn the valve on. The fuel filter is now filling up with fuel. So that's a good sign, and I don't see any drips yet. So that's another good sign. Alright, I'm going to give this thing another run, and I'm also going to put way more of a load on it in a second. And this should just about finish it up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can fire this thing up on the old gas. No leaks so far, so that's good. And if it does fire up, I'm going to put hopefully a 1600 watt load on it with that toaster oven you see down there. Now, I know this thing could put up to 4800 watts, but I don't feel like breaking out the space heaters I just put up in the attic a week or 2 ago. I'll do that eventually, but not right now. So let's see if this thing fires up on its old gas. Okay, so I just switched things around here a bit so the exhaust wouldn't be blowing right into the garage, because that wouldn't be good. So I'm going to fire this thing up again, and I'm going to plug the toaster in and make sure it runs right. So here we go. Alright, next step, besides finding and putting more of a load on it, which I think what I'm going to have to do is make an actual wiring harness, because I don't think I can put too much power, suck too much power from those regular outlets. But besides testing that out, it seemed to have handled the 1600 watt load pretty well, which is just about 14 amps, or it's either 14 or 16 amps. I think that I'm going to give this thing a bath, so let's try that out. I don't know about you, but I think that thing looks 20 times better now, so I'm going to let this dry out a little bit, and then I'm going to fire it up and let it get nice and hot and boil off any other water that was still on it. So after using the Sears here to dry it out a bit, I think the generator is all back to normal and stuff. I think what happened was the the dashboard here got water in it, and something was shorting out because that breaker kept popping and it would load down the engine. But if we give this thing a pull, it should start right up. Might do it. So anyways guys, that's going to be it for this one on the Homelite generator 4800 watt repair. Turned out pretty nice, I'm not going to lie. It was a great find for free, and I think it's definitely going to come in handy because we have power outages a lot here because just of how many trees there are in the place where I live. So anyways guys, thank you all for watching, and please subscribe for more content like this coming up soon, in addition to more content like that and some other stuff I have coming down the pipeline. Anyways, see you in the next one. Bye.